The shift that never ended. The vanishing of Officer David Larimore. It was a damp December night in 1986. The kind where the cold mist clings to your jacket, and every sound seems amplified in the stillness. Officer David Larimore adjusted his cap, settled into his patrol car, and began his evening shift in East Palo Alto, California. To anyone watching, it was an ordinary Friday night, just another routine patrol. But for Larimore, it would be the last shift he would ever be seen alive. David was not just a uniform. He was a father to 2 young children, a devoted husband, and a respected figure in the department. Colleagues described him as calm under pressure, methodical, and never careless. He had a quiet humor, the kind that caught you off guard, and a habit of keeping a small notebook tucked into his chest pocket, scribbling observations no one else thought mattered. That night, dispatch logs show his first few hours were uneventful. A traffic stop here, a routine patrol through the dimly lit neighborhoods there. But just after 10:15 p.m., Larimore's calm voice came over the radio. 10 to 38 Bay Road. Suspicious vehicle. Stand by. It was the last time anyone heard his voice. Another officer, driving past minutes later, noticed Larimore patrol car parked on the roadside. The headlights were on. The driver's door was open, and the engine was still running. But Larimore wasn't there. Inside, his hat rested neatly on the dashboard. His police radio sat on the seat. And most chilling of all, his service revolver was lying on the passenger side, unholstered. The ground was damp from an earlier rain, yet there were no footprints leading away from the car, no sign of a struggle. It was as if he had stepped out of the car and simply melted into night air. By midnight, the area had transformed into a massive search operation. Patrol cars blocked off intersections. Helicopters sliced the darkness with sweeping beams of light. Officers scoured alleyways, abandoned warehouses, and overgrown fields. They found nothing. The next morning, the news hit the town like a thunderclap. A police officer had vanished during his shift. Rumors exploded. Was it a gang hit? A botched drug bust? Had he uncovered something too dangerous? The department retraced his final hours. In the days before his disappearance, Larimore had been investigating a string of robberies linked to a violent drug gang. He told one colleague he felt like he was being watched. His wife, Linda, later revealed he had been unusually quiet at home, locking the doors twice at night and glancing out the window more than usual. 2 weeks later, a jogger stumbled upon a flashlight in a drainage ditch 5 miles from where the patrol car had been found. Same make and model as Larimore's, but no blood, no prints. Then came the leads, each one stranger than the last. One witness claimed to have seen 2 men arguing with a uniformed officer near Bay Road that night, but when pressed, he changed his story. Another swore they heard a single gunshot in the distance around 10:20 p.m., but no shell casings were ever found. And then silence. For months, the case stalled. The department quietly began to consider the unthinkable, that Larimore might have walked away on his own. But those who knew him best rejected that theory. He loved his job. He loved his family. He had just put a deposit down on a new home. In 1990, nearly 4 years later, a letter arrived at the East Palo Alto Police Department, postmarked from Arizona. Inside was a strip of paper, the edges uneven, as if torn from a larger sheet. On it, a single typed sentence. I had no choice. Tell my family I'm sorry. There was no signature. No fingerprints. No way to know if it was from Larimore. The mystery deepened when, years later, a retired detective admitted he believed Larimore had been targeted by corrupt officers, Men tied to the very drug operations he was investigating. Others whispered that he had been forced into witness protection. Decades have passed. His children grew up without answers. His wife never remarried, always hoping one day the phone would ring, and David's voice would be on the other end. But the truth, the real truth, is still out there, somewhere in the fog of that December night. Some say his body lies buried in an unmarked grave. Others believe he's alive, looking over his shoulder every day, waiting for the danger to pass. One thing is certain. On December 13th, 1986, Officer David Larimore stepped out his patrol car and into the shadows, and he has never been seen since.